Hello, and welcome to the Connection Architect Certificate Program and your chance to meet the mentors that are ready to add real-time value to your experience in the community. I'm your host and candid community builder, Michelle Hersaik-Nassif. Today, we're going to get real with another one of our learning level mentors, Michelle Clayton of Let Her Fly. We'll hear how Michelle is creating meaningful connecting points in her community and why it matters to put connections first. So thank you for being with us today, Michelle, and it's great to connect with you. Let's start by hearing a little bit about your background and your career and what's happening in your world today.
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to being a part of this group. I am at my core a graphic designer. So I have over 20 years of experience in the industry. I worked for a lot of different types of businesses and a couple of really big ad agencies here in Calgary. I'm Calgary based. And about 5 years ago, decided to take all of that and do my own thing. And so what I do now is I primarily work with women businesses, but I do work with some men as well. And my goal is to really help them look like the professional that they are. That's the point of branding from the way I see it, is that you can't fix a bad business with good branding, but when you've got a great business, you really can amplify it with the right brand and the right visuals that sort of help propel that. So that's sort of where I'm coming from in how I'm working with women. Connection for me has been huge. I think it's the foundation of business success and personal success, and me connecting with my clients helps them connect better with their clients. And that's really what it's all about. It's this kind of circular connection point. And so I love being able to be a part of this and helping other people connect in a broader way.
That's wonderful, Michelle. And it's great that you are already talking about connection, because my first question for you was going to be, what does connection mean to you? But it sounds like that it really is woven into everything you do. So maybe you can expand a little bit more on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I think of the definition of connection, I think for me, it really is about being seen and heard and understood by somebody else and having that reciprocated. So they see and hear and understand us. And I was thinking, as we were preparing for this, I thought, what a time in our history, a year and a half into COVID, where so many of us do feel disconnected because we don't have those touch points that we took for granted for so long. Even little things like running into the coffee shop or, the person at the grocery store who's helping you, all of those things have kind of been minimized or stripped away. And so we need those connections with each other. For ourselves and for our broader community as well. Like that, it's part of what makes us human. I think without that connection, we lose some of our humanness. And so we're at a really interesting time, I think, in our world to sort of rebuild some of what we've lost over time. So I'd say that's kind of what it is. It's understanding each other in a back and forth kind of way.
Yeah, you're so right. Those touch points were, so important. And I have, even for myself, realized how much I've missed having those little opportunities every day to be in the presence of others, to have, those conversations that we don't really have on a regular anymore. And so, as you were describing, I loved how you were describing the opportunity that we have now to integrate that again, but in a more intentional and meaningful way. I would love to hear more about how you think forming meaningful connections contributes to our community.
Wow, I think it's kind of, I don't know if there's strong enough words. Like, I feel like it's everything in our community to have those connections. When I was thinking about, the last year and a half, and even prior to that, I think we've all been to events, whether that's online or in person, where you can be in a room full of people, but you feel like the only person there. You have that, you feel alone and lonely, and we leave and we're kind of going, that was a waste of time or whatever. And then we've all been, hopefully, to events where it can be the same number of people in the room, but we really feel connection, either to the purpose or the cause, hopefully to other individual people there. And it just changes everything. It changes our perspective. It changes, I think, one of the big benefits of it too is it broadens our perspective on the world. That's maybe been one of the big tragedies of COVID-19 is we've gotten a little narrow in how we see things, or our ideology, or whatever you want to call it. And we need each other to have a broader perspective. I think connection is key to building empathy, really at its core. And when we don't have empathy for each other, I look around at what's going on in our world, and I think that's a cause of a lot of our problems. Like a lot of the strain and frustration that people are feeling is that we've lost empathy for each other. And I think having that connection, having connection to individuals and to meaningful groups, that's what helps us build that empathy. And that's what's going to make a difference in our communities, and then our cities, and then our broader world. I think it starts with us, in a smaller sense. Like, we're not going to wave a magic wand and fix everything out there, but we can start here with what we have and who we know, and hopefully it grows from that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And to add to that, I believe that one key awareness that, we have really integrated into the Connection Architect Certificate program is the awareness of each individual's impact in fostering community around them through building connections and increasing the intensity and intentionality behind connections.
Mm-hmm.
Because, whether you're a small business, or you're a professional, or an entrepreneur, or like however you exist in the world professionally and personally, how you show up, that first impression that you give either, opens the door to connection, or it can close it. And so that's why I feel like what you're offering as a learning level mentor is so vital for so many people, because it's not just about colors and images and graphics. It's about creating an ambiance and a culture and that community feeling, embodying that and who you are and what you represent, so that you don't have to have that connecting point of actually physically running into someone to build a connection. Someone can see you, someone can witness you, or feel you and experience you, and automatically feel connected. And that is, of course, with events and with marketing, that is really the goal of branding, is to create those connections. But what the Connection Architect strives to achieve for its participants is allowing them to come up with their own solutions for building connections that are unique and authentic to them. So that brings me to the last question, which is, Michelle, what are you most looking forward to sharing with our community? Because I know, like, with your experience, your 20 plus years, I'm sure there's a lot that you're going to add tremendous value, but what is that one thing that you're so excited to share?
I think what I'm excited to share most is that people don't necessarily think that branding a business is the same as branding an event. And there's so much overlap between them. Like, we use this buzzword branding, and really your brand is just your reputation. Like, it's what you're known for. It's why people look to you, or not, because you're not for everybody, right? There's a certain strategy or plan for the event in the same way that it is for your business, but there's so much overlap that we can bring from one into the other. A little fun fact that might be interesting to know is when we talk about branding, and I think this applies to everything, the statistic says that 80% of the memorability of something, so how much we remember it or recall it, is based on color. So we think of it with logos, right? Like, just think of whatever your, one of your most favorite brands is, instantly the color of that business, right? And the same thing applies to your event. Like, there are certain colors, there's psychology behind it, and there's these emotions that are tied to it. And we can use that, like, those are all tools. So all these tools that we use with branding and creating logos, all of those tools are available to help build a more effective event that connects with people and helps them connect with each other and kind of draws them into your purpose. And so that's what I'm excited about, is that they all work together so well, and we often forget that. And so I want to remind people of that and show them how they can pull in all these tools to make this great event that they have in their head actually make it reality, and market it well, and advertise it well, and execute it well, so that we continue to build connection in our communities.
I love that so much, especially, and I know Lisa would love it too, because it really brings out the artisan in how you connect, right? I mean, that is what the program is about as well, is unleashing that inner artisan. So I'm so excited that you're going to be a part of our community, Michelle. And I would love for you just to take a brief moment to let us know, for those watching, where they can find more information about you and connect with you on social media.
Most information about me would be on my website. So it's weletherfly.com would be my website. And then best channel is probably Instagram, which is we.letherfly, or I am Michelle Clayton, YYC for Calgary, on LinkedIn. Those would be the best places to connect.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Michelle. And for all of you watching, if you're interested in learning more about the Connection Architect Certificate Program, you can go to TheConnectionArchitect.ca. So thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.